What would you do if a single act of kindness turned your world upside down? On a chilly November evening, under the flickering light of a city bus stop, Amara stood shivering, her thin jacket barely shielding her from the biting wind. At 25, life hadn't been kind to her. A string of dead-end jobs, a tiny apartment she could barely afford, and dreams of becoming a writer felt like distant stars, beautiful but unreachable. She clutched her worn notebook, filled with half-finished stories, as the bus she needed pulled away without her. Another late night, another missed chance. Beside her, an elderly man sat hunched on the bench, his hands trembling as he fumbled with a tattered wallet. His coat was threadbare, and his eyes carried a quiet defeat. Amara noticed him drop a few coins, which rolled into the gutter. Without thinking, she knelt to retrieve them, her fingers brushing the cold pavement. "Here, sir," she said softly, pressing the coins into his palm. He looked up, startled, his weathered face softening with gratitude. "Thank you, young lady. Not many would bother," he murmured. They fell into conversation, the kind that happens when two strangers share a fleeting moment of connection. His name was Henry, a retired teacher who'd lost his wife years ago. Amara shared her love for stories, how she wrote to make sense of a world that often felt too heavy. Henry listened, his eyes brightening. "You've got a gift," he said. "Don't let it stay hidden." Amara smiled, but doubt gnawed at her. Words were cheap, making them matter was the hard part. As the next bus approached, Henry reached into his bag and pulled out a small, leather-bound book. "Take this," he said, pressing it into her hands. "It's just an old journal, but maybe it'll inspire you." Amara hesitated, but his earnest gaze convinced her. She thanked him, boarded the bus, and watched as Henry's figure faded into the night. Little did she know, that journal would unravel everything she thought she knew about herself. Back in her apartment, Amara opened the journal, expecting poetry or musings. Instead, she found pages filled with meticulous handwriting letters, dates, and names, detailing a life of quiet heroism. Henry hadn't just been a teacher. He'd been a civil rights activist in his youth, risking everything to fight for justice. One entry stopped her cold, a letter addressed to a daughter he'd never met, given up for adoption decades ago. The description, born in 2000, a love for stories, a spark in her eyes, matched Amara too closely to be coincidence. Her heart raced. Could it be? She dug through her own past, the foster homes, the unanswered questions about her parents. The twist hit like a thunderclap. Henry might be her father. But how could she find him again? The journal mentioned a community center where he volunteered. Driven by a mix of hope and fear, Amara went there the next day, only to meet Clara, a vibrant older woman who ran the center. Clara knew Henry well and revealed another surprise. She'd been his partner in the movement, and she'd known Amara's mother, a writer who died young. Clara's eyes welled up as she recognized Amara, connecting the dots through stories Henry had shared. Amara's world tilted. Clara helped her track Henry down, and their reunion at the same bus stop was raw, tearful, and real. Henry hadn't known Amara was his daughter, but the journal had been his way of reaching out to a past he couldn't reclaim. "I never stopped hoping," he whispered, holding her close. Amara's writing, once a private escape, became a bridge to her history. With Clara's encouragement, she began sharing her stories at the community center, her words resonating with others who'd felt unseen. That single act of kindness, picking up those coins, had led Amara to her father, her heritage, and her voice. She wasn't just a dreamer anymore. She was a storyteller with a purpose, weaving tales that honored the past and inspired the future. The bus stop, once a place of missed chances, became a symbol of second ones. Yendi.